Hello and welcome to this ITS Channel Sales podcast. I'm Tony Pullin.
And I'm John Caspell.
We're really excited to give you this opportunity to hear about some of the exciting products and developments happening here at ITS.
Andrew, welcome to the ITS Channel Sales podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, gentlemen. Absolute pleasure. So we know you've got some really important things to share with us today. But before you get started with that, we thought it'd be really good if you could give us and our partners a short potted history of Umango and maybe even tell us what the word means.
Yeah, absolutely. Far out. That's a lot of history to cover. Hard to imagine for someone who looks so young, right? I might be pushing it there. I actually came from a sort of software solution background in the multifunction space. Gosh, back in the 2000s. So I don't know how many people can relate to being that old or not. But it's important to mention because there's always been this inherent problem, if you like, or challenge in the industry where we've got hardware and a very hardware centric industry. And there's been this dabbling in the software environment or solutions, if you like. But really, the two were succinctly separate. And I'm mentioning this for a reason, so bear with me. And software solutions were treated as the poor cousin or something that you would implement very separate as a separate conversation. And hardware was also feed, speeds, price. And that's a fair comment too, because software solutions were very complex. There was a lot of upskilling and time. So there was a real fear around it. So out of all of that, in 2010, I was a co-founder, I'll get that right, of Umango. And Umango really has, because of that MFD foundation, our experience from the actual industry, we've developed something that works incredibly well with a multifunction device, but also that is aimed to be incredibly easy to install, configure, and use. Not just for customers, which are the business people really, they don't need to be IT professionals, but also just as importantly for the reseller channel to be able to upskill and sell with confidence. And remembering that sort of dovetailing into the multifunction device. So, right from day one, we're all about document automation, making things simple, but again, making something that the channel can really adopt and be comfortable with in bringing in early into a client conversation.
Great. So Umango started in 2010. So you've been
2010.
involved. It's a long old time in the capture arena. You must have seen some really exciting things over that time. Is there one thing that stands out?
Yeah, incredible. As you've sort of mentioned, capture at its very foundation many, many years ago was, very scanning centric, but really focused on what I would call a piecemeal scanning scenario. And at best, grabbing a word or phrase off a pre-printed document, if you can remember back all that way. And that was considered magic, that was considered scanning, and scanning so close to the multifunction device. It's evolved, in so many ways, and I'll try and allude to and connect that even to AI, which, again, we've really been part of right from the lead in early 2023. But the industry's progressed. So it's progressed from capturing a word or phrase to being able to grab information off very different pieces of information. And I'll give you some examples. And it's worth people watching or listening to this to really step back and think about the information that occurs and is handled within a business. So, this could be an incoming email. And what we're doing there, right, is we're creating smarts on what email to grab and what not to grab, but also maybe to render the email and the attachment, do some smarts with it, grab some words and phrases, but push it into a business or a document process. And also things like being able to capture electronic files. And again, scanning and paper in the multifunction device is still, a pivotal part of that. But more, we're now the glue that connects all these different inputs and these different things. And moving now, as I alluded to in AI, is, being able to capture things on mobile phones. How many times is a mobile phone image being taken as part of capturing a business process? And how many times does it sit on the phone, or it's underutilized? So I've seen it progress from flat file, basic information sort of capturing to be able to make decisions, be able to answer questions around mobile phone images and smarts all around that, and really move from a basic naming to being able to leverage the actual information in that file, that email, that electronic document, or even that scanned document a lot.
So AI, that's really interesting. It's one of those hot buttons, isn't it, that people are always talking about at the moment. The other one, I don't know about you, but I'm hearing it a lot, is cloud. Cloud seems to be something that's getting people very excited. They want to get rid of servers. They want to go to the cloud, whatever that means for them. So what are you doing? What's Umango doing for those people who are saying they've got this cloud first strategy?
It's a really good question, and I'll start by default. And by the way, the timing's perfect because we're actually releasing our cloud offering in February of 2026, and it's important. It doesn't replace our existing on-prem/hybrid kind of conversation, but as you've mentioned, it's an opportunity to ask questions around such things as, listen, as a customer, we don't have a hardware infrastructure or a server environment. So let's tick a box from the obvious advantages that provides. And that's around, look, we don't need any hardware. We don't need any, IT admin kind of scenarios. Or updates are automatically rolled out, et cetera, et cetera. And probably part of that I'd like to add is the fact that obviously from a Umango Cloud scenario is that as a reseller, you can focus on delivering solutions rather than just that first hoop of saying, hi, I need admin and credentials to be able to install something on your network. There's something though that I really want to highlight that's fundamentally above and beyond and something that's really exciting with cloud. And that is, rather than having a Umango instance where we've got to be all on the same network and our multifunction devices need to be on the same network or VPN, cloud delivers something absolutely fundamentally new to a conversation you can ask your customers. And what I mean by that is the fact of talk to me about how your workforce exists. How do they operate? Location, at home, whether it's in a cafe, and being able to actually connect your mobile phones, your desktop, your web browser, whatever it might be, into that Umango Cloud instance, no matter where it is in the world. And that's a huge and new advantage, a new opportunity.
I think that's great. Yeah, we're speaking to a number of our partners now who want to onboard and are moving down this cloud first strategy with their end users. So to have a solution from Umango that can help with that is brilliant.
But just to add to that, what's really cool is the fact that with our Umango Cloud offering, worth mentioning that is a single containerized instance of Umango hosted in Azure. Okay, it's a lot of words. What the heck does that mean? It means the fact that that customer's information is their information and their information only in their Umango instance. And it's got all the security around Azure. So that's often a question that comes up, right? The cloud, what's the security like? Is there risks? So that's something we're absolutely readily addressed. The other really nice thing, as I mentioned regarding Umango and our embedded capability on the multifunction device, is very unique, very capable, and pretty much across any brand of multifunction device brand that's out there. But also our cloud offering will also support your local multifunction device as part of that solution, which is pretty cool and pretty fundamental.
And the feature set you get with the on-prem versus the cloud is the same? Is it different? How does that look from an end user point of view?
Yeah, it's something that, when you're releasing something to a channel, adding to that, ease of install, configure, and use, and again, that minimal sort of upskilling that a reseller really needs to have to be able to onboard Umango. The other aspect of it, which can be a challenge, is understanding pricing, right? You need to be able to generate a quote quickly and within minutes. And that's what we've been very focused on Umango since day one back in 2010. And that's the same with cloud. Without going into too much detail, but there's 4 tiers of Umango, depending on simply what feature set you want. And I'm glad to say it's that same conversation in the cloud as with our on-prem/hybrid product. So there's really nothing much new to learn. It's just where is Umango existing? Where is it installed? That's really the primary difference.
Okay, fantastic.
That's great. And if somebody's ready to go with that, if they're looking at a cloud version of it, just speak to ITS. We can take them through the rest, yeah?
Absolutely.
I say, yes, that's good. We like that, John. I like
That works. Okay, so I'm a new partner to ITS. I don't have any of their products in my portfolio yet. I could be a managed print provider or an IT service provider. Why should I onboard Umango? What's going to set me apart once I've done that to my competitors?
Yeah. So, first off, dare I say with managed print, it's still a very hardware centric conversation, right? And often it's a case of a customer saying, "Well, I want a renew of my existing multifunction devices. Oh, and by the way, I want managed print to go on top of it." And dare I say it, managed print's kind of an interesting thing for in my mind because also the objective is to reduce the actual print output. So it's an interesting area to actually discuss or offer. Humango is completely different. Why is it different? Because it's an opportunity to ask questions and engage in a completely different level with your customer. Again, hardware's feeds, speeds, price, get the sale done and move on. Umango should be something that you bring into the conversation early. Yes, perhaps we're here to renew your multifunction devices or we're an IT consultancy, but let's also discuss what do you do? What are the challenges in your business? And you as a particular person in the organization, what are your challenges? It's really that conversation and those questions that are so important to building that relationship, understanding the client far deeper and having a solution that you can often regularly go back to and renew and extend as an opportunity as a revenue within the client business. That's what Umango is all about. And again, if handled right, it's just a great opportunity to be able to find out more about the client business, build a relationship, and build that long term loyalty that we've always been on about as an industry, but we do such a poor job of. And again, Umango is that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're certainly seeing where our partners want to see something outside of the click.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's been talking for seems like months now about print volumes declining. Where else can we find a revenue stream from? So by the sound of it, what you're saying about Umango is you can help bridge that gap.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing about handling it in the right way. You know, I guess the challenge, or there's a couple of challenges there. Typically, a customer's not going to walk in or at a meeting say, "Oh, by the way, I need an intelligent document processing solution." They're not going to ask for that. And dare I say it, they're likely to probably say, "Oh, by the way, I need a managed print solution." So you've got to lead. And that's the difference here. You've got to ask questions to uncover the opportunity rather than just sitting back and waiting for a customer to ask you. So that's an important part of that conversation. But the rest of it is just driving, depending on the client, some nice conversational questions and asking them their challenges, what do they do every day, what would they like to change, and utilizing Umango to meet that straightforward, simple need and then growing it from there.
That's great. So that's brilliant for somebody who's new and maybe not done any kind of capture before or any other kind of document processing before. But what about if you've got a partner, somebody out there who's already in the capture world, and they've got another product already in their portfolio? What is it that Umango adds to that? What makes Umango stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, really good question. And the fact is that even that word capture is old. And, you may have heard me mentioning a couple of times around intelligent document processing. And that's what Umango is all about. So our humble beginnings are very much what we call capture. And what I mean by that, again, just recapping that is capture is just simply capturing a word or a phrase and using that to name a document in its most simple form. But things have moved on. And what I mean by that is the fact that Umango watches business inputs and processes using business intelligence. So those inputs, still the multifunction device is a pivotal part of that. And again, that's traditional what captures around perhaps. But what about incoming emails into the business? What about being able to create dynamically words or phrases about to render the email, the actual attachments, that extract meaningful information, make decisions about that email, and even do such things as create in Salesforce a new sales opportunity automatically without any human intervention. And that's something brand new or quite new as an idea perhaps for people to contemplate. But also traditional capture, intelligent document processing now covers making intelligent decisions around a document. What is this? Is this an invoice, a statement, a piece of correspondence? Is it a shipping document? Being able to make those decisions without any human intervention and being able to route as well as extract information. I guess intelligent document processing goes even further. I'm left-handed and my handwriting is terrible on a good day, and Umango can read normal human handwriting better than we can. And so being able to liberate handwriting, being able to make decisions, even be able to detect the language that a document is written in and being able to translate it. And last but not least is being able to even capture images off a mobile phone. So that's another aspect of it here is, as a question, do you capture images on a mobile device to capture a business process, for example? And if the answer is yes, what is it? And what's the information? Because Umango can, for example, detect welds on boats being built, for example. It could be detecting the materials being used in a residential house under construction. Crazy could even be used for, I don't know if you've seen trail cams that take images of wildlife and being able to detect if there's a particular species of endangered animal that occurs within those shots. There's some of the things that Umango can do. And I don't want it to be overwhelming for people listening or watching to this, but just understand that in the box, Umango can do that and create those sort of solutions in mere minutes. It's the questions and the opportunities that Umango provides in that space.
Yeah, and you mentioned very briefly there about fleet management, and a lot of our partners have got fleet management in their portfolio. That's got it's got an element of scanning capture. And I shouldn't say scanning; you always tell me off when I call it scanning, but an element of capture in that. What's Umango going to give our partners and their customers over and above what they potentially have already got within some print management solutions?
Yeah, so I think really to, again, not expect that the customer's going to ask you this. And this is the thing, these are the questions, and this is the conversation I have with a customer around, well, tell me more about what you do. Again, if the expectation is, well, I'm just going to talk on a multifunction device, centric, scanning, simple solution, and really naming something and saving it somewhere, well, that's what you're going to get. But it's a dead end, right? Because it's still focusing on feeds, speeds, and price. And I'm going to win the sale, I'm going to move on. So Umango, again, is so much more than that. And so much more in the sense that we can liberate so much input into the business. And also we can do so much more with it than just a simple scanning capability on a print management solution. The other thing that I might mention, just harking back to existing capture solutions, is often they're outdated and they're not really being revamped to the degree that you're seeing Umango. And we're doing some incredible stuff with artificial intelligence. By the way, we rolled that out in early 2023. We were one of the first to market. So we're doing some incredible stuff in this space. Other thing, just harking back to expectations in print management and scanning. What about AI itself? I mean, AI is such something that's a sort of a rapid fire technology, and it's keeping CEOs up at night around, okay, what the heck is this AI? Can I implement in my business to streamline it? And the fact is that the majority of business owners and senior management have got no idea. They've got no idea how to implement AI. Here we've got Umango that out of the box creates artificial intelligence in such an easy and tangible way to improve and be able to streamline business and to be able to make those wins and those tangible success stories an absolute reality. That's a completely different conversation from I can scan using a print management application, woohoo, and move on.
That's great. So it's really good because this is really about conversations. And I think that's where we want to take this on to next, isn't it, John?
Yes.
So we're looking for some advice. So what is the best way for some of our partners to begin that meaningful conversation with Umango in mind?
It definitely, I mean, some of that, of course, is dependent on the customer and what they're doing. But just be confident in asking questions. I mean, this is kind of 101, but handling it in a guided direction. And that guided direction in the sense of, what are we doing here? In the sense of, okay, do you scan things? I mean, let's take it back to its fundamental, right? Scanning, Great. What are you scanning? How are you scanning it? What is the value in that information? What are you actually doing with it? What are the business systems that you're putting this into? Can we streamline that? Can we improve it? Um, Other some quick questions would be, tell me what you do. What are the pieces of information and the inputs into the business? Role play. Oh, look, I'm an engineering company. We do things via sort of a project kind of management base. Excellent. What are the things that make up that project? Incoming emails from your clients, perhaps? Great. Well, Umango can actually make automatically grabbing and routing those into a particular project and extracting the information around what that email is instantaneous. As I've alluded to, do you take images documenting that project? We do. Okay, what are some of the aspects or the important things around those actual images? Well, it's actually sharing with the client the progress of that project. Excellent. Umango can streamline that, for example. There's so much to it. The important thing is not to be overwhelmed, and that's the main thing I want to emphasize here. It's understand that Umango can solve all these things. It's not a dedicated one fit, but rather it can do many things. But pick something that out of those conversations is what I call low-hanging fruit. Okay, John, out of all of this, what is the one thing that you could change? What is the one pain point out of the things you've mentioned that you would love to change and change for the better? Well, you know what? I would love to be able to process this paperwork and streamlining, bringing into my business system better. That's a tick for Umango. Or it could be, again, processing emails, electronic files, whatever it might be. But pick that one thing, solve it, deliver a win, and then go back and say, okay, Tony, we've successfully solved that need. Let's take on the next aspect, I should say, of your business and how we can streamline it using Umango. Hey, that's that regular recurring income, right? That's that regular consulting. And that's where you start to really make big inroads into the customer. Once you're starting that conversation, you're never going to be replaced. The loyalty's there. Think of all the stuff that you already offer as services and revenue into that client. That's just going to grow, and you're not going to be outplaced. You're not going to be outmaneuvered because you're having the right conversations.
So I guess it's really about the salespeople feeling comfortable when they go visit their customers, having almost 3 or 4 questions in their kit bag that they can put out and ask to their prospect or their customer about document capture, IDP. But is there anything that they can do when they go into the business and that walk from the front door to the meeting room? Are there any things that they can look out for, that they can then bring into the conversation around Umango, around document capture, that they can pick up on that 2 or 3 minute walk?
Yeah, definitely. This should be part of, again, a sales professional and your development, your capability. The client's going to expect, first off, I anticipate, they're going to expect you to talk feeds, speeds, and price. Okay, it's Andrew here. He's going to come have a meeting to renew our fleet of multifunction devices. Okay, so let's pivot away from that. Let's change that. So, walk-in organization, what the heck do these guys do? Again, are they a boat building business? Have they got a whole bunch of boats in different aspects of production? House renovation company, building, rent roll, like a rent real estate type organization. What do these guys do? And I do want to emphasize we're actually much more than paper, but paper's a part of that, and asking what they do with it. And do they scan and how they scan and what do they print? But also an aspect of, again, talk to me about what you guys do. Who are your customers? What are your challenges? And part of that, and part of what this whole cloud aspect of what we're doing, and part of what I emphasize as well, talk to me about how your company works. Are you distributed? Have you got regional offices? Is this head office? What information systems do you use? How can we streamline? How can we leverage off that? And do you guys work from cafes? Do you work as projects at a client site? All this sort of stuff that you're just asking around is huge amounts of invaluable information to understand what they do, how they work, and how you can offer a benefit. And let's face it, at the worst, at the end of the day, you've immediately by having these questions, you've set yourself apart from, remember that early expectation I mentioned, which is, here comes Andrew and he's just going to talk copiers. or multifunction devices. Wow, they're going to be blown away by the fact I'm asking all about them. What do they do? What keeps them up at night? That's going to set you apart right from the start.
So if you could leave our partners with just one really key piece of advice, I know it's hard, but about how to really build a successful Umango sales strategy, what's the first step?
Yeah, I guess what really springs to mind is more when you find an opportunity, is keep it simple, keep it tangible, and a short, quick win, and then grow that conversation. Ask more questions. Don't walk in and say, by the way, I've just heard this conversation from Umango and ITS, and I can solve all your needs effortlessly. You'll need to worry about no human intervention. AI is just going to be able to grab everything in Umango and smartly file it away. Don't do that. Focus on a short win. What's the pain point, or what is something that is keeping you awake at night that we can solve now as part of our consultancy to you, and focus on that as a quick win, and then grow it from there.
Thank you.
And then to get more information on Umango, do you have partner portals? Do you have NFR licenses, sales material, marketing material? If so, as a partner, where do I find this information?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is part of our long-term, since 2010, focus on dealing and evolving the reseller channel. And again, with our global partners such as ITS. So our Umango portal has got heaps of white papers, latest releases of Umango, PowerPoint presentations, sample Umango, what we call sample jobs. So there's a wealth of information that you've got at your fingertips and for your team at any one point. And of course, you've got ITS, who have been long-term channel partners as well. So right from like a pre-sales conversation, like example, it would be, okay, what are the questions that my sales team need to uncover opportunities? Perfect ITS opportunity to train your sales team. Your pre-sales and technical team, and NFR, some technical training. How about restoring some sample Umango jobs with videos that you can just drag a file into Umango, watch the magic happen and process? It's just a great fundamental default demonstration for every customer, even on a laptop, even on a team session. They're those fundamentals that are just great from going from zero to feeling comfortable in being able to start engaging with these sorts of questions. ITS, by the way, every month with Umango provide an ITS newsletter, and some of those engage around industry challenges, questions to ask, and new capabilities. There's a wealth of information and support with Umango and ITS.
Well, that's fantastic, Andrew. Thank you so much for your time. It's been really interesting hearing about some of the new things you're doing, also a little bit of a history lesson. But I think most importantly was also building that sales strategy and understanding, inquisitive salespeople and uncover opportunities. So thank you.
Absolutely. And again, make it part of the business rather than, again, just isolating this software and hardware mentality. Now it's a lead first. Let's ask questions. Let's uncover opportunities. We're a consultancy, not just a hardware or an IT service provider.
Look forward to speaking to you again soon.
All the best, guys.
So we really hope you enjoyed that podcast. And don't forget, if you did enjoy it, please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, we'll be back this time next quarter to do another exciting podcast. Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.